kinematics of circular motion. So this is same as what we have discussed in linear motion, that is motion. First case is motion with constant angular velocity. Now when the angular velocity is constant, you will say that the angular displacement is equal to omega t, just like x is equal to vt in linear kinematics. All right, so this is the motion with constant angular velocity. Now if there is constant angular acceleration, this also you can say, if constant angular acceleration is alpha, if constant angular acceleration is alpha, in that case you can write alpha is equal to d omega upon dt, and let initial angular velocity is omega I, let initial angular velocity is omega I, and final angular velocity is omega f. Then you can say that d omega is equal to alpha dt. Integrate, because alpha is a constant, it will be out of the integration. So at t equal to 0, the angular velocity is omega initial. At t equal to t, the angular velocity becomes omega final. So from this you will get omega final minus omega initial is equal to alpha t. That means omega final is equal to omega initial plus alpha t. This is also same as v is equal to u plus at. Okay. Now let us derive the next relation, that is omega final can also be written as d theta upon dt. Omega initial is a constant plus alpha t. Again, if you variable separate and integrate, this time you will say d theta is equal to omega initial plus alpha t dt. That means if you integrate it both sides, you will get at t equal to 0, suppose the initial position is theta initial, and at t equal to t, the final position is theta final. Theta final minus theta initial is basically the change in angular position. Change in angular position is the angular displacement. So we will say angular displacement theta is equal to, if you integrate this, you will get omega initial t plus half alpha t square. Same in the same way, this you can compare it with linear kinematics. Similarly, you can also write alpha is equal to d omega by dt, that is equal to d omega upon d theta multiplied by d theta by dt. D theta by dt can be written as angular velocity. So this is equal to omega d omega upon d theta. So again you will say alpha d theta is equal to omega d omega. Again if you integrate, initial time omega was omega initial and the position was suppose theta I, and the final angular velocity, the position is suppose theta f. So from this you will get omega final square is minus omega initial square is equal to 2 alpha theta, where theta is theta final position minus initial position, that is the angular displacement. So you will get the relation omega final square is equal to omega initial square plus 2 alpha theta. Also omega average will be equal to omega initial plus omega final upon 2, and theta is equal to omega initial plus omega final by 2 multiplied by t. Okay, this also we have studied in linear kinematics. Also angle rotated in the nth second, is equal to omega initial plus alpha by 2 multiplied by 2n minus 1. In the same way, the displacement in the nth second is equal to u initial plus a by 2 into 2n minus 1. So let us come to the next question. In this question, it is given that a fan is rotating with angular velocity omega is equal to 100 revolution per second. That is omega is equal to 100 multiplied by 2 pi radian per second, because 1 revolution means 2 pi radian. That is 200 pi radian per second. Time given to stop is 5 minutes. That means in 5 minutes it stops. So 5 multiplied by 60 seconds. Then find the total number of revolutions made before it stops. So we need to find the angle theta. Now you know that theta is equal to omega final plus omega initial by 2 multiplied by t. So this can be written as 0 plus 200 pi by 2 multiplied by 300. That will be equal to 100 pi multiplied by 300. So this is the angle rotated. If they want to find the, we are asked to find the number of revolution. So number of revolution will be theta upon 2 pi. Number of revolution will be equal to theta upon 2 pi, and that will be equal to 100 into 300 pi divided by 2 pi, that is equal to 15,000 revolutions. Okay. Now find the value of angular retardation. So from this you can say omega final is equal to omega initial plus alpha t. Omega final is 0 is equal to omega initial is 200 pi plus alpha you need to find out, and t is 300. So you will get alpha is equal to minus 200 pi divided by 300. That is minus 2 pi by 3 radian per second square. Okay. So this is alpha. The third question is find the average angular velocity. Average angular velocity is this only. That is 100 pi. Okay. Next question. Two particles. Now this is a very important question. Two particles A and B move on a circle. Initially these particles are diagonally opposite to each other. Particle A moves with an angular velocity of pi radian per second. And angular acceleration is pi by 2 radian per second square. So omega A is pi and alpha A is pi by 2. And particle B moves with a constant angular velocity 2 pi radian per second. So omega B is 2 pi and alpha B is 0. Right? Then find the time after which both the particles A and B will collide. Okay. Let us assume that this particle is accelerating with an angular acceleration alpha A. Okay. And let us assume that B is rotating in this direction. Okay. That is, one is clockwise and the other is anti-clockwise. Now what you will do is sit in the frame of A. Sit in the frame of A. So if you sit in the frame of A, that means A is at rest. And let us take the inward direction as positive and outward direction as negative. Okay, let us take the inward direction as positive and the outward direction as negative. So in that case, first we need to find the relative angular velocity of B with respect to A. Omega BA is how much? Is equal to omega B minus omega A. Now omega B is in the outward direction. You can see if you curl your fingers along the path of B, omega B is in the outward direction. So omega B will be minus 2 pi minus omega A. You can clearly see that omega A is in, because it is curling clockwise, the thumb is downwards. Downwards is taken as positive. So omega A is pi by 2. So that will be equal to minus 5 pi by 2. So this is omega of B with respect to A. Now similarly, alpha of B with respect to A is alpha B minus alpha A. Okay, I will actually, you will get confused if I write omega BA, because omega BA is not omega of B with respect to omega relative. Okay, similarly alpha relative is alpha B minus alpha A. Alpha B minus alpha A, so alpha B is 0, alpha A is, again let us see the direction. So the direction of alpha is found out using the same concept as the direction of angular velocity. That means curl your fingers along the direction of acceleration. Then you will say the direction of the thumb will give you the direction of acceleration. So alpha is clockwise, that is downwards, that is positive. So that is minus pi by 2. Now similarly, let us see what is theta relative is equal to theta b minus theta a. Now a is at rest and b has to rotate. Because the direction omega, or see, the direction of omega is minus, right? The direction of the omega is minus. Minus means what? Minus means up, outward. Outward means anti-clockwise. So that means b has to move in this direction with respect to a, right? So in this direction theta also has to be negative, and because a is at rest, if b wants to collide with a, it has to cover an angle pi. So theta b minus theta a is minus pi, because you have to curl your fingers along the direction of motion. You can see that omega relative is minus, that means anti-clockwise. So the angle that b has to rotate is also anti-clockwise. Anti-clockwise means negative. Okay, so minus pi. Now you can use the relation theta relative is equal to omega relative t plus half alpha relative t square. So theta relative is minus pi, omega relative is minus 5 pi by 2 t, plus half alpha relative is minus pi by 2 t square. Pi pi cancel, from this get the value of t. Okay, there are two types of acceleration. So there are two types of acceleration, radial and tangential. Radial acceleration is also called the centripetal acceleration. So first we will discuss tangential acceleration. Tangential acceleration is rate of change of speed. Rate of change of speed in a circular motion is the tangential acceleration, or you can say it is the component of acceleration. It is the component of acceleration along the tangent. It is the component of acceleration along the tangent. So the direction of tangential acceleration is along the tangent. Tangential acceleration is represented by at. And if the direction of tangential acceleration is along velocity, you will say speed increases. And if it is opposite to velocity, then you will say speed decreases. Okay, so if the acceleration, a tangential acceleration is along velocity, you will say speed is increasing, and if the tangential acceleration is opposite to velocity, then speed is decreasing. So the tangential acceleration is the component of acceleration along the tangent. So what is the relation between tangential acceleration and angular acceleration? Tangential acceleration and angular acceleration. So suppose this is a circle and this particle is moving with angular velocity omega initially, but suppose there is also a tangential or the angular acceleration alpha. So again, if alpha is parallel to omega, now direction of alpha is also found using the curling the fingers along the circle. So if the curl is same as the curl of angular velocity, then you will say they are in same direction, that is they are parallel. So in this case you will see that both are inside the plane of the paper. So if both are inside the plane of the paper, that is they are parallel. So if alpha is parallel to omega, then in that case speed will increase. And if alpha is anti-parallel to omega, then you will say speed will decrease. Now we need to find the relation between the tangential acceleration and angular acceleration. You know that in a circular motion v is equal to omega cross r. Now this is the perpendicular component of velocity, or you can say the component of velocity which is perpendicular to r, and in circular motion v is already perpendicular to r. So if you write for any curvilinear motion, you will say v perpendicular is equal to omega cross r. Now the tangential acceleration is defined as rate of change of speed. So the tangential acceleration is defined as rate of change of speed, that is rate of change of perpendicular component of speed, and that is equal to, if r is constant, then you will write d omega by dt cross r, or you will say a tangential is equal to d omega by dt is alpha, so a tangential is equal to alpha cross r. For circular motion, you know that alpha and r are perpendicular to each other. So for circular motion, you will say for circular motion, a tangential is equal to r alpha. This is in vector form and this is for magnitude. So you can see that for a rigid body, alpha is same for all points because angular variables are same for all points. But the tangential acceleration is different for different points because r is different for different points. So suppose this is the fan which is rotating. Suppose it is accelerating. Angular acceleration is alpha. You can clearly see that this travels less distance and this particle travels more distance in the given time. So this will accelerate more, this will accelerate less. From the formula also you can see AT is R alpha. More the R, more is the tangential acceleration. So tangential acceleration or the linear relation, linear variables depends on the particle or the position of the particle, but the angular variables is same for all particles in a rigid body. Then what is centripetal acceleration? What is centripetal acceleration? AR or AC or radial acceleration. Centripetal acceleration is also called the radial acceleration. This is the component of acceleration responsible for change in direction. Responsible for change in direction. It is the necessary component of acceleration. It is the necessary component of acceleration. Without this centripetal acceleration, there cannot be any circular motion. The direction of centripetal acceleration is always towards the center. The direction of centripetal acceleration is always towards the center, and the magnitude of this acceleration AC or AR is equal to V square by R or omega square R or V omega. We will derive this relation now. So again I'll repeat, the formula for the centripetal acceleration or the radial acceleration is V square by R or omega square R or V omega, and the direction is always towards the center. This is very important. The direction of centripetal force or the direction of centripetal acceleration is always towards the center. Now let us derive this. So suppose this particle is moving in a circle. So the particle moves from this point to this point. covering an angle theta. For deriving the value of centripetal acceleration, let us assume that this particle is performing a uniform circle. Let us assume that this particle is performing a uniform circle. Okay, uniform circular motion. So suppose this is the uniform circular motion and it is rotating with an angular velocity omega. Now you know that the radius vector is always perpendicular to velocity and velocity is always tangential or along the tangent, right? So if this is the radius vector, now if the radius vector rotates by an angle theta, so if the radius vector rotates by an angle theta, the velocity vector also rotates by an angle theta. Velocity vector also rotates by an angle theta. Because it is a uniform circle, that means alpha is 0. If alpha is 0, that means AT is 0. That means speed is constant. Speed is constant, direction is not constant. Speed is constant. Now the direction of initial velocity was in this direction. This is initial velocity representing Vi, represented by Vi, and this is final velocity Vf. Magnitude of both is same, but the direction has changed. That means the vector has changed. Now r vector has rotated by theta. That means v vector has also rotated by theta. Now if you know, the acceleration is defined as change in velocity per unit time, right? Now if you want to find the magnitude of this acceleration, then you will say it is equal to the magnitude of change in velocity per unit time. And if you want to find the magnitude of this change in velocity, you will write v final minus v initial by delta t. So you will write this as v final plus minus v initial by delta t. Now this is v final, this is v initial. So I will draw it again. This is v final. This is v initial, that means minus v initial is along this direction. Now you have to take the vector addition of these two. So the vector addition of these two will be along this direction. Okay, if you have two vectors A having same magnitude and they are at an angle theta with respect to each other, then the resultant of these two vectors is along the bisector and the magnitude is 2a cos theta by 2. So the resultant is along the angle bisector and the magnitude is 2a cos theta by 2. So in the same way here the magnitude is same, so the resultant velocity will be along this angle bisector, and if this angle is theta, this angle is 180 minus theta. So the value of this resultant vector will be 2v cos 180 minus theta by 2, and that is equal to 2v cos 90 minus theta by 2, and that is 2v sin theta by 2. So the magnitude of change in velocity is 2v sin theta by 2. Therefore you can write the acceleration magnitude is equal to 2v sin theta by 2 divided by delta t. Now if the particle has rotated an angle theta, then you can say that theta is equal to omega t because it is a uniform circle, and from this you will get the time is equal to theta by omega. Now once you have got the value of time, you can put the value of time here, that is theta by omega. So this is equal to 2v omega sine theta by 2 divided by theta. So this is the magnitude of average acceleration when the particle rotates by an angle theta. Now if you want to find the instantaneous acceleration at any point, if you want to find the instantaneous acceleration at any point, then what you will do, you will limit this theta to 0. Means theta is very small, the angle rotated is very small. So you will say A instantaneous is equal to 2v omega sine limit theta approaches 0 sine theta by 2 divided by theta. That is equal to 2v omega. Because theta is very small, then sine theta can be written as theta. So sine theta by 2 can be written as theta by 2 divided by theta. Theta cancel, 2 cancel. You will get the magnitude of instantaneous acceleration at any point is equal to v omega. But you also know v is equal to omega r. So therefore, you can say A is equal to V into omega can be replaced as V by R. So A is equal to V square by R, and also V can be written as omega R. So you will say V is equal to omega R multiplied by omega, that is omega square R, and this is also equal to V omega. So this is the value of acceleration, instantaneous acceleration at any point. Now you know that the speed is not changing here. If the speed is not changing, that means this acceleration is because of the change in direction. The acceleration due to change in direction is called the centripetal acceleration. So this acceleration is called the centripetal acceleration. The direction of centripetal acceleration is always towards the center, is always towards the center. The direction of centripetal acceleration is always towards the center. So therefore finally again we will write the conclusion. The centripetal acceleration is v square by r or omega square r or v omega. What are the important points about centripetal acceleration? The first important point is it is always directed towards the center, that you already know. It is always directed towards the center. The second important point is it is the necessary component of acceleration. Without it, circular motion is not possible because it is responsible for the change in direction. Without this, circular motion is not possible because it is responsible for the change in direction. Third important point is this formula is valid even if circular motion is non-uniform. That means there is a angular acceleration, because if there is an angular acceleration, the value of speed will change, but this is the instantaneous acceleration, right? So you need only the instantaneous speed. So at the centripetal acceleration at any point will be equal to the speed at that point whole square divided by r, or the omega at that point whole square into r. Okay, so even if the circular motion is non-uniform, that is the circular motion is having an angular acceleration, then also this formula is valid. Okay, so alpha is not 0, it is not 0, even in that case this formula is valid. Okay, so these are some of the important points that we have to discuss. First, differentiation of speed gives tangential acceleration. I've already told you A is rate of change of speed. Second, differentiation of velocity gives total acceleration. Differentiation of velocity gives total acceleration. Let us discuss what is the total acceleration. So at this point, suppose this is the radial acceleration AC or AR. This is the tangential acceleration AT. Then the total acceleration is along this direction and we will call it a resultant. So the resultant acceleration or the total acceleration will be equal to magnitude wise under root AT square plus AC square, where AT is dv by dt, rate of change of speed, and this is also equal to r alpha, and AC is equal to v square by r or omega square r or v omega. Now if this resultant makes an angle alpha with the centripetal acceleration or the radial acceleration, then you will also write tan alpha is equal to AT upon AC or AT upon AR. Okay, so this is tan alpha. So this is the total acceleration. This is the component of acceleration towards the center, that is the radial acceleration, and this is the component of acceleration along the tangent, that is the tangential acceleration. Okay, now you have to remember one thing here. The component of total acceleration along the radius has to be towards the center, to make a curve, that means if this resultant was in this direction, this motion would not have been possible. Similarly, if this resultant was in this direction, this motion would not have been possible. If this resultant was in this direction, then the motion is possible because AT will become downwards. But if resultant is in this direction, then the component along radius is away from the center. Away from the center, this motion is not possible. So the component of acceleration along the radius has to be towards the center and not away. Okay. So the next important point is rate of change. This is what? This is the magnitude of total acceleration, and this is the magnitude of tangential acceleration. This is the magnitude of total acceleration and this is the tangential acceleration. They are not the same. dv by dt magnitude is the magnitude of rate of change of velocity, that is the magnitude of total acceleration, and this is the rate of change of speed, that is the tangential acceleration. Also, dv by dt is a cos theta in any curvilinear motion. See, dv by dt is what? It is a cos theta, that is the component of acceleration along velocity. Again, this is the same point. dv by dt is the tangential acceleration. A cos theta here is the tangential acceleration. Okay, and this concept is valid for any type of motion, whether it is circle or not. It has to means any curvilinear motion. Now let us do some simple problems first. The speed of a particle traveling in a circle of radius 20 centimeter increases uniformly from 6 to 8 in 4 seconds. Then find the angular acceleration. So this is a very simple question. The radius is 20 centimeter and the speed increases from 6 to 8 in 4 seconds. That is 80 is equal to 8 minus 6 by 4, that is half. So angular acceleration, you know that AT is equal to R alpha. So from this you will get half is equal to R is 20 by 100 because radius is given in centimeter multiplied by alpha. So you will get alpha is equal to 5 by 2 radian per second square. Next question, a particle is moving in a circle of radius 10 centimeter with uniform speed completing the circle in 4 seconds. So the time of completion of rotation is 4 seconds. Then you can say this is equal to 2 pi by omega. So from this you will get the value of angular velocity, 2 pi by 4, and that is pi by 2 radian per second. Okay, now you are asked the magnitude of its acceleration. Because the circle is uniform, there will only be the radial acceleration, and radial acceleration is omega square r. So from this you can write pi square by 4 multiplied by r is 10 by 100 meter per second square. Sometimes pi square can be approximated to 10. Okay, so this cancelled. So you will get 1 by 4 meter per second square. Now in the next question it is given that again the radius is 2 centimeter, but this time they are saying that the speed change is given by this relation, v is equal to 40, but v is in centimeter per second and t is in second. Then find the tangential, radial and the total acceleration at t equal to 1 second. So v is 40, at is dv by dt, that is 4. That means at is constant. So t equal to 1 second, at will still remain 4. Okay. Now if you want to find AR, then first you will find the speed at t equal to 1 second, and speed at t equal to 1 second will be 4 centimeter per second. So speed at t equal to 1 second is 4 centimeter per second. That is, the radial acceleration at this point will be 4 square upon r. R is 2. So the radial acceleration will be 16 by 2, that is 8 centimeter per second square. If you want to find the total acceleration, then A total will be equal to under root A r square plus A t square, and that will be equal to under root 8 square plus 4 square. Okay. Next question, a particle begins to move with a tangential acceleration of constant magnitude. So begins to move, that means omega initial is 0 with a tangential acceleration of 0.6 meter per second square in a circular path. If it slips when its total acceleration becomes 1 meter per second square, that means when the total acceleration becomes 1 meter per second square, this will start to slip. So you know that A total is under root AR square plus AT square. Now A total is given as 1. So AR square we need to find out. AT square is 0.6 square. From this you can see that AR is equal to 0.8. So you have got the magnitude of radial acceleration when the total acceleration becomes 1 meter per second square. Okay. Now what is the angle through which it would have turned before it starts to slip? So you know that omega final square is equal to omega initial square plus 2 alpha theta. Now omega initial is 0. So omega final square is equal to 2 alpha theta. Now if at the final point AR is 0.8, that means omega square R is to 0.8. That means omega final square can be written as 0.8 by R is equal to 2. AT is 0.6, that means 0.6 is equal to R alpha, that means alpha is 0.6 by R. So this can be written as 0.6 by R. So R getting cancelled. So you will get theta is equal to 8 by 12, that is 2 by 3 radian. So this is the angle rotated by the particle before it starts to slip. In the next question, if a particle is undergoing circular motion with speed v and radius r, and angle between the acceleration and velocity is theta, then find the magnitude of tangential acceleration in terms of v, r and theta. it is given that a particle is undergoing a circular motion with speed v. So this is the circular motion with speed v, radius r, and the angle between velocity and acceleration is theta. So let us assume that this is the acceleration, total acceleration, and this angle is given as theta. Clearly you can see that tan theta has to be equal to AR by AT. Okay, now the speed at any instant is v, so AR can be written as v square by r, and AT can be written as r alpha. So from this you will get tan theta is equal to v square by r into 1 by r alpha. You are asked this r alpha, so you can directly say AT is equal to v square by r tan theta. Now they are asking whether this diagram is possible or not. So at this point it is shown that this is the direction of acceleration and this is the direction of velocity. If you take the components, you will see this is a parallel and this is a tangential. Now a parallel has to be towards the center, but it is away from the center. Clearly you can see that this motion is not possible. So this acceleration is not possible as the perpendicular component, this perpendicular component means component perpendicular to velocity. Component perpendicular to velocity has to be towards the center of curvature or towards the center and not away from the center. Is this diagram possible? So in this case, when you resolve this acceleration perpendicular to the velocity and along velocity, you will see that this perpendicular component can be towards the center. So this diagram is possible, but because AT is opposite to V, therefore it will be retarding. So this is possible, but the speed will be decreasing. Now the radius of curvature at any point. So suppose a particle is following this curve. So when the particle is following this curve, you will see that at every point there you can think that every point is a part of a circle of different radius. Every point in a curve is a part of a circle. So every point in a curve is a part of a circle. If you want to find the radius of the circle at any point, then what you will do, you know that centripetal acceleration is equal to v square by r. So that means r has to be equal to v square by centripetal acceleration. So at any point, if you know the velocity or the speed will be along the tangent, because the speed direction of velocity is always along the path. So the speed will be along the tangent. And what is this? The radial acceleration. This is component of acceleration perpendicular to velocity. This is component of acceleration perpendicular to velocity. So if you find out the component of acceleration perpendicular to velocity using this formula, you can find the radius of curvature at any point. Now, if a particle moves along any function, say this particle moves along this curve is given by y is equal to fx. Then to find the radius of curvature at any x or x naught, you can use this formula. The radius of curvature at any point is given by 1 plus dy by dx whole square. That means the magnitude of slope at this point, and square it whole power 3 by 2 divided by d2y by dx squared. That means the slope of this slope, that is the rate of change. So using this formula you can calculate the radius of curvature at any point in any curve. Okay, the derivation of this formula is beyond the syllabus. Okay, so we will not derive it. Let us do one problem. Suppose a particle is projected with a speed u at an angle theta. Then this is the highest point, and this is the landing point. Find the radius of curvature. ROC stands for radius of curvature at the highest point and the landing point. Find the radius of curvature at the highest point and the landing point. So first let us look at the highest point. You know that at the highest point of the trajectory, the speed will be u cos theta and the acceleration due to gravity will be in downward direction. It is already perpendicular to the velocity. So at the highest point, the radius of curvature will be u cos theta whole square divided by g. V square upon a perpendicular. But at the landing point, the speed will be same as the projection speed and the angle with the horizontal will also be same. So the radius of curvature at this point will be equal to speed square divided by the component of acceleration. Now the component of acceleration, that means, so this is g, but you need the component of acceleration perpendicular to velocity. That is, if this angle is theta, this is 90 minus theta, this is theta. So you will say this component of acceleration perpendicular to velocity is g cos theta. So you will say r is equal to u square upon g cos theta. So in this way you can find the radius of curvature at any point. Let us take this example where a projectile is launched horizontally with a speed 20 meter per second from some height. So this is the height and the projectile is launched with a speed of 20 meter per second from some height. Then find the radius of curvature at t equal to 2 seconds. Now at t equal to 2 seconds, what will be the speed? So you know that Vx will remain constant, that is 20. Vy will become, Vy is equal to Uy plus Ayt, that is 0, because in the y direction initially there was no speed. Ay is minus 10, t is 2, so that is equal to minus 20. So at t equal to 2 seconds, suppose it is at this point of its trajectory and the speed Vy and Vx both are 20. So the net magnitude of speed will be under root 20 square plus 20 square, that is equal to 20 root 2. So the speed at this point is along the tangent, that is 20 root 2. The acceleration due to gravity is downwards, and you know that because this speed is 20 and 20, the angle the resultant makes with the vertical or the horizontal both will be 45 degree. So this angle will be 45 degree. So the radial acceleration, that is the perpendicular component, will be g cos 45, and that will be equal to g by root 2. Now you know that the formula for radius of curvature is given by v square upon g or a perpendicular. Radius is, the formula for radius is given by v square upon a perpendicular. So this will be equal to 20 root 2 whole square divided by 10 by root 2. That will be equal to 20 square, 400 into 2, 800 divided by 10 root 2. So the radius of curvature at this point is 80 root 2. Okay. Now let us take one function. Suppose y is equal to ax square. A is any constant, then find the radius of curvature at x is equal to 4. So what you will do, you will find dy by dx and you will write it as 2ax, and then you will find d2y by dx square, and that will be 2a, that is a constant. So you know that the formula for radius of curvature is given by 1 plus dy by dx whole square whole power 3 by 2 divided by d2y by dx square at that point. So you need to find at x equal to 4. So at x equal to 4, dy by dx becomes 8a. So you will write this as 1 plus 8a whole square whole power 3 by 2 divided by d2y by dx square at x equal to 4 is 2a, because d2y by dx square is a constant. So this is the radius of curvature at x equal to 4. So using this method, you can find the radius of curvature at any point. Now one note, Vu are the velocity and Vu are the speed. V is equal to u plus at is valid, but magnitude of V is equal to magnitude of u plus magnitude of a into t is wrong, because this magnitude of a is the total acceleration. You need only the tangential acceleration. This has to be the tangential acceleration. Then you can say that this is valid. Okay. Now when alpha is variable, you will have to integrate. So in case 1, let us say alpha is a function of time, and suppose alpha is a function of theta. When alpha is a function of time, you will write alpha is equal to d omega by dt is equal to alpha as a function of time. Then you will separate the variable and then you will integrate. But if alpha is a function of theta, then you will say alpha is equal to omega d omega by d theta, and then you will write alpha d theta is equal to omega d omega, and then again you will integrate using the conditions given in the question. If alpha is a function of velocity, if alpha is a function of omega, then you will say you can use either of the two depending on what they have asked. That is, d omega by dt is equal to alpha as a function of omega. That means d omega upon alpha as a function of omega is equal to dt. You can integrate and put proper limits. Or you can also use omega d omega by d theta is equal to alpha as a function of omega, and you will say omega d omega upon alpha as a function of omega is equal to d theta. And again then you will integrate with proper limits. So depending on the situations, these are the questions that can be asked in when alpha is variable. Okay, so let us do one problem. Suppose it is given that alpha is 2t square, and it is given that at t equal to 0, omega is 0. That is, the particle starts the circular motion from rest. So in that case you will say that d omega by dt is equal to 2t square. That means d omega is equal to 2t square dt, and if you integrate you will see at t equal to 0 omega is 0, at t equal to any time t you can say omega is omega final. So omega is equal to 2t cube by 3. So this is the omega as a function of time. Now if you want to find the position as the function of time, then find angular position or angular displacement as a function of time. In that case you will say omega is equal to d theta by dt, and that is equal to 2t cube by 3. So you will say d theta is equal to 2t cube by 3 dt. Again you will integrate. Integration of change d theta will give you delta theta, that is the angular displacement, and that will be equal to 2 by 3 t4 upon 4. Suppose at the initial time the initial position was theta I, at time t the final position is theta f. Theta final minus theta initial is delta theta, and delta theta is the angular displacement. So this will be equal to t power 4 divided by 6. So if the angular acceleration is variable, you can apply the variable separation and integration method to find the omega and the angular displacement as a function of time. Please subscribe to my channel and also join me on Telegram. Hello students, if you like my work, do hit the like button and share my work with your friends. Also, please subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon. You'll be notified when I upload my next video.